Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Buddhist Biohacker podcast and live vlog on YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. Thank you so much for joining me here again today, and wanted to talk about a topic that I actually wrote about back on April 2nd and haven't had the opportunity to actually talk about it live on a podcast because of so many wonderful things going on with our One Heart, One Earth Global Healing Summit and all of the different activities and projects that are going on during this time of pandemic. So I wanted to come live today to talk with you and for those of you listening on the podcast about 3 different ways to manage your immunity during a pandemic. There has been a lot of great information going around about how to manage your immune system, and there's been some, misinformation and just some different things going on. And so I want to share with you some of the background first of why I wrote about this. What happened was we went into quarantine here at the end of March. So I've actually been home for 6 weeks now. I work from home anyways, but I've been home with kids out of school for just about 6 weeks at this time. And so what happened was we all went into quarantine. There's the threat of the virus. And so I started supplementing even more so than I normally do. And I want to be clear here, part of what Buddhist Biohacker is all about, and part of what my functional Ayurveda practice is about supplementing as little as possible. So one of my goals is to be able to eat, to live, to be able to take in through food, through my diet, what I need so that I don't have to supplement. I mean, that's one of the key things here. And that can be challenging with some of the genetic mutations I have. And so there is some supplementing that I need to do. And with that said, what I found was with the threat of the virus and my own immune system challenges, it became apparent to me that I needed to up some of my supplementation. So that was right at the beginning of the pandemic. And then what happened was about 3 weeks into the pandemic, and that was about when I wrote this blog post. It came out on April 2nd, and that's found on BuddhistBiohacker.com. But the blog post came out because what happened is I was sitting in my kitchen looking at, I was taking all my supplements, my vitamin C and vitamin D and glutathione and all those things. And I started to think, do I really need these supplements if I'm home and I haven't been exposed? And so I really sat with that for a day or two and did some research and just checked in with my own self and in my meditation process. And what really came to me is, no, I don't need to supplement or over supplement if I am at home and I'm practicing safe hygiene and eating properly to support my immune system. So that is why this blog post came out. And I finally had time today, this afternoon, to sit down and really talk with you about what I meant in this blog post so that you can continue to support your immune system through this time. So there's really 3 different things that's happening during this time of quarantine, this time of isolation, this time of mindful retreat. One of the things that's happening is that some of you are essential workers. Some of you are still having to go to work. You're still having to, go to the store. You're still having to go out into the public. Okay, so that's one scenario. Another scenario is you're home. You're self-quarantining, you're not going out with the exception of essentials. And most of that is a directive where we're at. We're starting to lift here in Colorado, but ultimately, you go to the store, you go to the post office, you go to the essential things you need to do, but you're not going, to the mall because it's not even open anyways. And then there are folks that are sick. So then there are folks that are just flat out sick, and that is where they're at. And so there's 3 different things going on here. And I want to talk through what to do in these different scenarios. So first and foremost, I want to talk about just being at home. You're home, you're self-quarantining, you're only leaving for essentials, and you're home. There is no reason to supplement with the exception of what you need for your physical health There's no need to supplement with extra vitamins or with extra immune support when you're home and you're not being exposed to anything. In fact, I would save your money, I would save your time, so that you're not having to worry about taking a bunch of supplements. In fact, I have stopped almost all supplementation completely since I've been home in especially the last 3 weeks. And one of the reasons why is because you can manage your diet 100%. And what I mean by that is you aren't going to restaurants. Most of us are not going to restaurants right now because they're either A, not open, or these restaurants it's just not safe to go out. And so when you're not taking in processed foods from a restaurant, and I'm not saying all restaurants aren't clean or, that they're bad or anything like that, but what I'm saying is we don't have control over the oils that they're using when they're cooking or frying things. We don't have control over the restaurant's hygiene. We don't have control over where they're purchasing their products and if there's frozen vegetables versus fresh vegetables, et cetera. Now, obviously, that's a restaurant to restaurant basis, and there are some that I know in my area that are very clean, and I know where their food products come from. So there's always exceptions. So this is just a broad generalization. I want to be clear about that. But the point is, if you are cooking for yourself at home, you have complete control over what you're cooking and what ingredients you're cooking with. So step one here is you want to eat as much whole foods as possible. And I recognize that during this time, some of you guys are unemployed, some of you might have a hard time accessing that. So the first thing I want to say is if you can get away with canned vegetables, get away from that. It's always better to have fresh over canned or frozen. Frozen is your next step. So it goes in a pyramid. You start with those organic, non-GMO, locally grown, farmers market, really clean, fresh vegetables and fruits. Then below that's going to be just regular vegetables and fruits. If you can't get organic and non-GMO, if you can't afford it, whatever that is, fresh vegetables and fruits, no matter where they come from, is still better than going to the next level, which would be frozen vegetables. And then the bottom tier there is your canned vegetables, because canned vegetables are full of preservatives and sodium, and they're processed and all those things. And they're also exposed to aluminum and other things in the cans that they're made in. And so that's a whole other issue that can happen with your health. So the number one thing you can do for your health when you're self-quarantining is truly to eat whole vegetables and fruits, to cook grains, whether it be rice, even pasta, depending on where it comes from, can be okay, but just really eating whole fruits, vegetables, whole foods. Same thing with your proteins, getting fresh meat. If you can get clean kill and local and conscious meats, that's obviously going to have a higher vibration than any other meats, but it's still okay to do that with preservative meat, frozen meats, processed meats made out of soy. That is all on the lower tier. So if you are eating fruits and vegetables and you're managing your own diet at home, you're cooking at home, you're taking care of yourself the best way that you can with the foods that are available in your local market, then there really isn't a need to supplement for your immune system, truly at all, because your immune system is getting what it needs from your diet. And this can be a whole deeper conversation. I could spend an hour, I could spend 5 hours talking about diet. So what I want you to understand is this is based on a rainbow variety of fruits and vegetables. It's about rotating your proteins and vegetables and fruits, not eating the same thing every day, all of those things. That is where you can say, listen, I don't need to supplement. So for example, I cook a lot of different vegetables at home. We're a very low sugar diet at my house. We eat, conscious and local meats and fish when we can get fish, because I'm in Colorado, so that's not always an easy thing to get fresh fish. But with that, because I rotate all the fruits and vegetables, I keep my diet pretty clean because I've had to for a very long time. It supports my immune system, and needing to take vitamin C, vitamin D, all those other things really becomes unnecessary. And in fact, I've seen an improvement in my health being home, not eating at restaurants. And I do choose clean restaurants. So it's kind of been an interesting experiment being at home and being self-quarantined, because what I've learned from being at home is that if I truly cook my own food with, I use Ayurvedic and anti-inflammatory herbs to cook with, like turmeric and coriander and cumin and fennel and all of those different herbs, Himalayan sea salts, those kinds of things. If I'm cooking with herbs and seasonings and good clean food at home, I actually feel pretty great. And I've had some things clear up for me in this time frame. So I've learned a lot in this time frame just about how much I was supplementing because I wasn't getting what I needed, because I was choosing other options. So this is something for you to think about for the long term, is what options do we choose, and when do we, go out to eat and not, as things start to open up. So that's scenario number one. Scenario number one is you're home, you're not going anywhere, you're not exposed. It's my opinion, you probably don't need to supplement at all. And that, of course, is, again, with the disclaimer and the exception of all the things that you need. If there are certain things you need for your health, you obviously have to take care of your thyroid or whatever you're doing. But if you're doing those things, you shouldn't need to add extra. So that's step number one. Now, step number two is I have to go to the store. I'm going to go out into the public, and I may or may not be exposed to the virus, or to anything for that matter, flus, colds. We're truly exposed to a lot of things all the time. And so this is my advice. And again, this is in my blog post on BuddhistBiohacker.com, but I also wanted to discuss it in a podcast so that you guys have the information directly from me. So my advice is this. If you have to go out, I would begin supplementing 1 to 3 days before you leave. So for example, I've been going to the store to shop for my family, and there's 4 kids and 2 adults. So I have to go each and every week, but I've been going once a week, and I've been buying for a 7-day time period so that I know that I don't have to go to the store again for another 7 days. So what I've been doing is I don't supplement throughout the week, and then 1 or 2 days before, and honestly, it's been more like 1 day before because my health's been strong and I feel fine, but it depends on where you're at and how you feel intuitively about your health. But usually a day or 2 before I know I'm going to the store, I start supplementing. And this is what I supplement with. So I supplement with 500 milligrams of vitamin C, and natural vitamin C is key. Now, these supplements are selling out. So I'm also going to talk to you about what foods you can eat to be able to get what you need, because here's the thing, a lot of people are supplementing and over supplementing and buying supplements for 6-9 months of supply, which again has put us in a position where we might have to manage our health through food. There's a couple supplements I love that have been sold out for the last 6 weeks and I can't get them. And so I have to make exceptions to that. So I take 500 milligrams of natural vitamin C twice a day. Your body can only ingest 500 milligrams of vitamin C at a time. So if you take a full gram, 1,000 milligram tablet of vitamin C, it's really, you're going to pee it out. It's really a waste. So if you can get 500 milligrams, do it. Now with everything, the supply and demand and things selling out, that may be your only option. But ideally, you'd want to take 500 milligrams of vitamin C 2 times a day, once in the morning with your breakfast and once in the evening with your dinner. So you're kind of splitting your day in half. The other thing that you want to take is 5,000 IU's vitamin D3. So vitamin D3, 5,000 IU's. You can take up to 20,000 IU's a day, but that is excessive and there's no need for it. Really, 5,000 IU's for an adult is fine. For children, 1,000 IU's is fine. You can get drops for your kids, vitamin D3 drops, and just do a couple drops that equals that 1,000 IU's for the children in their drinks, and that will help support their immune system. So just a little tip for you for your kids. But you do want to take 5,000 IUs of vitamin D3 a day. And so again, I'm taking that twice a day, or I'm sorry, once a day. Sorry, once a day for 1 to 2 days before I go out to the store. The other thing that's highly recommended is glutathione. Glutathione is our master antioxidant, and at least 25% of the population has some form of genetic mutation in which they don't produce the appropriate amounts of glutathione. I, in fact, don't produce any hardly. I mean, I am missing two of the three precursors for glutathione I'm actually missing in my genetic SNPs based on my genome analysis. So I take glutathione all the time. And what's been really amazing is during this time of quarantine, I actually have not had to take glutathione except for maybe once or twice a week versus every single day. So again, managing your diet is everything. So with that said, glutathione, I usually take 500 milligrams 2 to 3 times a day. And if I'm going out into the public, again, I'm taking that twice a day, the day before, the day of, and the day after. So those are really key. Another one that's key is zinc. Now, my favorite zinc complex is sold out, so any zinc will really do, but you really want to make sure that it's a zinc that also has copper in it. And this is tricky because if you have heavy metals in your system, you may not need the copper, but ultimately you need copper to absorb the zinc. So you want to make sure that you're really looking at the ingredients of your zinc. And I will put in the show notes, and it's also in the blog, what particular products I recommend. And I'm also happy to send you a full script for those products for the ones that are available. So you can just shoot me an email and let me know that you want to be sent a full script for these, and I'll just send it to you. And then you know what products I recommend and where to buy them, and also with a special price. So there's that. But yeah, so again, zinc, D3, C, glutathione, these are the 4 main supporters of your immune system. And again, I recommend taking them 1 to 3 days before you go out, and maybe 1, 2 days after you've gone out. So if you're going to the store once a week, it may look like you supplement 3 or 4 days out of the 7-day time period is what it looks like, rather than supplementing each and every day. And again, part of this is to save money. Part of it is because you don't need it. And part of it is because then your supplementation is going to last a lot longer as well. Now, the third situation or scenario is you're sick, whether it be with coronavirus or something else. And if you're sick, obviously going anywhere is probably not a good idea. And that is when you want to up your supplementation each and every day. So with any virus, vitamin C, vitamin D3, glutathione and zinc are really, really important for managing your health with the virus. And they are finding that vitamin C, intravenous vitamin C, is actually significantly helping the immune system. And you can read Dave Asprey's story about his mold exposure. He's the founder of Bulletproof. He actually talks about how much vitamin C he had to intake before it actually started truly helping his system. You can actually absorb a lot of vitamin C. So I want to talk about vitamin C because, again, you can only take in so much at a time, but if you're very depleted, that can vary. And there's also the idea of intravenous vitamin C. You can go get vitamin C injections, all of these different things, which right now may be tough to do. So what things have vitamin C? So leafy greens do have vitamin C. So you don't just have to eat citrus fruit. However, citrus is really helpful for your liver and kidneys. It helps your immune system. So if you cannot get the natural vitamin C supplementation right now, just get it from your food. Eat an orange a day, have a grapefruit, get your citrus in, and also eating those green leafy vegetables. Pretty much everything we need are in green leafy vegetables, but there is vitamin C in those as well. So that would be my recommendation. So vitamin C is very, very important. When I was exposed to toxic mold and I was having issues with my immune system, I did take a gram of vitamin C once or twice a day for at least 3 weeks before I felt that I needed to back off of that. So that's something to know about vitamin C. Vitamin D3 is really important also for fighting virus and infections, supporting your immune system, especially if you have co-infections. So speaking to a lot of you guys that have co-infections, you may have Lyme's disease, you might have Epstein-Barr, you might have Hashimoto's, you might have all these other co-infections, Candida, there may be bacteria in your body. So if you have different co-infections causing inflammation, vitamin D is really important with that as well. So if you can't take a supplement, get in the sun. That is the most important thing. And some of you guys aren't able to get outside. And so if you can't get outside, the best thing you can do is find that sunny window and either open it up or just sit in the sun, even in your own home. But getting outside, getting some sun is the best way to get your vitamin D if you can't supplement, or if you simply don't want to supplement. Because again, the goal is to supplement as little as possible through managing your diet and managing these co-infections that are in most everyone's body. Glutathione. So glutathione there's a high amount of glutathione in broccoli sprouts and in microgreens. So microgreens and broccoli sprouts, those are really good ways to get your glutathione. Glutathione really works best if it's combined with vitamin C. So in a food, this would look like perhaps you have your broccoli sprouts, or even have broccoli itself, any kind of kale, leafy green, along with some citrus. So maybe you make a nice dark leafy green salad and you put some mandarin oranges on it or some grapefruit in addition to it. That's going to help your body with that glutathione. If you're taking liposomal glutathione, which is where you're taking it into your mouth, it's a liquid form and it goes under your tongue, or you're taking a cap of glutathione, it's really important to take your glutathione 30 minutes before you eat. And when you eat, you want to think about, do you have some kind of vitamin C happening in what you're eating? And if you don't, you may want to supplement with some vitamin C as well. I take glutathione caps. I take Now brand glutathione currently, and it has ALA, alpha lipoic acid, which really helps support the liver and the kidneys. So again, if you're battling co-infections or you have a difficult time detoxing because of your genetics or because of a co-infection that you're fighting, the glutathione with the ALA is really good. It's got lots and lots of antioxidants. It's going to blast out all the free radicals out of your cells. So it's really important. Again, take your glutathione 30 minutes before a meal. When we talk about zinc, zinc is important for so many things, and you see the results of zinc in your skin. You can see it in your hair, but it also truly supports your immune system. I love this zinc complex by New Chapter Organics. It's really beautiful, and it's totally sold out everywhere because it also has Ayurvedic herbs like turmeric to support your immune system. So when that comes back online, I think a lot of us will be filling up our stores with their zinc complex. But zinc is a really good thing to have. And if you have the MTHFR genetic mutation, like I do, it's important to have zinc in your system as well. So again, just watch that copper balance. So those are really the three ways to support your immune system during this pandemic. So the number one, just to go over it again, the number one way to support your immune system is through your diet. Having a proper diet with whole foods and a rainbow of vegetables and a variety of meats, vegetables, and fruits is going to support your immune system no matter what's going on, pandemic or no pandemic. It's going to support your system. The second thing that can support your system is using the supplementation to support and boost the immune system going into a trip out into public. And then again, when you come back from that trip, so that you can just make sure that the virus doesn't attach. One thing that the vitamin C and the glutathione combo does, that 1-2 punch, it blasts free radicals out of the cells. And so the cool thing about blasting free radicals out of the cells is if you are exposed to the virus, it can help keep the virus from attaching to your cells. So it's one of the important things to do. And so again, supplementing before you go out and right after you go out will help save some money and help support your system at the same time. And then if you're sick, it's really about keeping your immune system supported throughout the entire process. There's a lot of great products out there to support the respiratory system. One of my favorite things is a tea. It's organic India tea, and it's tulsi, turmeric, and ginger. Tulsi is an Ayurvedic herb that supports the respiratory system, and it's also really yummy. Turmeric obviously supports the immune system, and so does ginger. And this particular tea I've been drinking this entire time. I've been drinking it for the entire quarantine time, and it's really helped my immune system, and I can tell the difference. And even though it's just a tea, herbs and teas can be just as powerful as any other medicine. So, and that tea seems readily available. I haven't seen it sold out, and I've seen it in a multiple of stores. So if you can find the Tulsi, turmeric, ginger, there's also a Tulsi ashwagandha, but getting Tulsi tea, which is holy basil, it's an Ayurvedic herb for the respiratory system. That's really going to help you through this time, whether you're just experiencing allergies, whether you're sick. It's springtime here in the United States. So for us, we're moving into a time where some of you guys are struggling with allergies and things like that. So Tulsi can really help with that as well. So those are my recommendations. And if you're looking for more support on your diet, you can get my ebook. It's on my store. It's called The Indigo Flow, and it's a 33-page guide to natural detox, both spiritual detox as well as physical detox. And there's a lot of information in diet. Also, I want to remind you guys that I practice functional Ayurveda. I actually do functional medicine testing so that we can get proper data to see what's going on with your co-infections. We can see what bacteria are in the body. We can look at your gut. We can look at all sorts of different things, your hormones, also your food allergies. So we can do the real live data testing. I'm also a medical intuitive. So how my practice works is you can book a free consultation, a free Ayurvedic consultation. It's free on my website, BuddhistBiohacker.com. You just go on there, go to Ayurveda and book your free consultation. What that does is it gives you 20 to 30 minutes with me to really talk through your prakriti, your dosha, where you're at from an Ayurvedic standpoint. And I also use my ability as a medical intuitive to identify what the priorities are with your health right now. And we build a plan together so that I can support you going forward. And then, of course, we can go into a full Ayurvedic assessment and follow-up appointments, and all of that information is on my website. But I just want to remind you guys that in addition to reading people and doing global healing summits and all of these things, my passion is health and supporting you through your health. I've had to make major life changes. I've lost over 100 pounds, and that has come from studying Ayurveda, holistic health, yoga, and really studying the diet and the functional aspects of the diet. So the goal is that your diet and your food is supporting you for your life. So thank you so much for tuning in. This is a shorter podcast, but I think it's all good. And I will see you guys later this week. We have some more podcasts upcoming and others that are going to be posted today. So thank you so much. And I'll be back on to talk more about respiratory health and health as we shift into the spring season. And what does that look like from an Ayurveda perspective? So thank you guys so much for listening, and have a great day.